This is another video. This is an unboxing of this vehicle black box or black DVR. It's a model A68, 27 quid's worth. I showed you in my first video this type of camera in action, dual lens. So it has an internal cockpit lens as well, and so I thought you might be interested in having a look at the camera itself, as you really mainly saw footage from it. So we'll unbox it. Turn it around the right way. That's it. Okay, we have the camera itself. Which is inside the slip bag. That's the main lens. You have a series of buttons. You've got menu, up and down the menu, SD card slot. I've got 32 gig card in here. On the other side, you have power button, an OK button. There's a couple of other buttons, and I can't remember what they do now off the top of my head. Just one moment. You have a place for the actual mount. You have the power in socket, and you have the socket for the other camera. So we'll just put that to one side for a moment. Right, inside the rest of the box, the actual camera, the cockpit camera. Now this cockpit camera has infrared LEDs fitted to it, so that when it's inside the car, it will light up the inside of the car, and they're quite powerful actually. You can see people inside the car quite easily, and that slides on to the side of the camera. Now, when the camera's round this way, this is the screen, the LCD screen. It's quite reflective. It's actually more like a mirror. Now, this camera slides on with quite a good fit. If I remember rightly, I think it is that way. Is it that way or was it that way? Sorry, no, I'm doing it the wrong way. Idiot, I'm thinking the other way. Right, so yeah, so it slides on. So it falls, it slides on quite easily. And then this part of it, the actual plug-in, it's like a miniature HDMI. It goes around that way. It just clicks in. Now this camera move round, move up and down, and also it can move 360 degrees right round, so I can go right round to the front if need be. For instance, on my I've got one of these on my push bike, as you saw from the video. This is quite useful to have at the side, so that if any cars come in and try and cut me up, you can spot them instantly. And it has its own file, so you can pull that file up separate, but they're both running at the same time, so the times are the same, so quite useful. But obviously in a car, you can have it facing inside the car, and then you've got your front lens here. So let's peel that off. Lens quality is, you know, for the money is absolutely, it's very solid plastic. This is your power in socket, which I shall demonstrate shortly. You have microphone hole underneath and a reset. As I say, this is quite reflective. This is only really for setting up the camera and for playing back, because if you try and watch it in the car, if you've got the sun reflecting on it, you've got no chance of seeing a picture. So it's really only for setting up, really, and you really want to do the setup before you put it in the car. So yeah, you can use it more as a mirror, you know, which you can sit out the back of the car, believe it or not. It's unbelievable. So yeah, and then of course you've got a sticky pad fixing unit, which goes side on. Now it's quite hard to side on. Once it's on, it's really hard to get off. So at the moment I'm not going to put it on, but, and then that literally sticks to your window screen. So yeah, you can have this down sort of lowish, I would say. This is not really the type that you have up high on the window screen. This is more you have down near your dashboard. That way it's much easier to operate, and of course you can see the screen if you need to do a replay or something. Now, it does come with a set of instructions. Oh, also, I'll put that in there for a minute, you have a power cord. Now my one, I've wired the power into the car, so I've actually got it, instead of it going to a cigarette lighter, I've actually got it fitted to a relay, so that when I turn the car on, the ignition on, the camera switches on automatically. It does have its own internal battery, which charges up, and when it gets shocked, it will record. It will take a photo and then turn itself back off again. So, you have a manual. Obviously it's in English and Japanese. It can show you in various ways how to fit it. Tells you all the key functions. But as I say, some of it's in pidgin English, so you've got to sort of work it out a little bit for yourself. But that's easy enough. It doesn't take much to get the hang of it. Shows you there how to set it up. Mic, camera, in-car camera's optional. So you don't have to have it fitted. It will work without it. I found it quite useful, to be honest. Right, okay, so got a power cord here. Now I've got a battery here which I use for testing mainly, so I can use that to power this up. It's 12 volt, and I've got a USB. I've got a USB charger on it, which would normally plug into a car cigarette lighter. But I've also got the car cigarette lighter adapters. That's it there. So it's just a thing I knocked up, quite useful. So basically plug that in there, like so. Right now, the minute power is applied to it, the camera will come on and it will start recording. I've set it up so that when power is applied, it will start recording immediately. Well, it will the minute I plug the fuse in. He says, "Why you not to work?" There you go. So, there you are. There's your two pictures. There's a one from that camera, and then you've got one from the main camera, which is in front. I'm not sure how easy you can see that. But yeah, very good picture. It's HD, 1080p, 441 and 720p. So you've got the three options. So quite good. So yeah, that's basically it. 27 quid. As I say, you saw the footage. For the money, you cannot argue with the money. I mean, the money's, 27 quid for a dual camera. I mean, Christ. I mean, there are some people say, oh yeah, well, if you pay this, you pay that. You'll always get someone who will say to you, oh yeah, but if you pay this, then you'll get, well, no, if you haven't got the money to pay for that amount of camera, then you haven't got the money. This gives you the chance to keep your car protected and keep yourself protected if somebody walks out in front of you or bashes into your car for 27 quid. You can't ask for more, really. You really can't. As I say, this camera swivels, no problem at all. So, backwards and forwards. As I say, the infrared comes on, and it really does work well, the infrared. It tends to flick between infrared and normal daytime camera, depending on the lighting conditions in the car. So if you've got bright light in the car, it will switch off the infrared and go back onto normal camera. I did notice that occasionally. If you went past very bright street lights, it would switch back into normal daytime camera. It's not a problem, you still get a perfectly good image. So, but of course when it went dark, then the infrared would kick in. So it's very sensitive, works very well. So I hope it's been some use to you, this video. This was really just a quick unboxing, just so you can see. It's very easy to set up. It took me literally 10 minutes to set it up. You've got a menu button. Now, I shall switch that on. Or am I doing the wrong side? Oh, sorry, it's in record mode, of course, yeah. You've got to stop it recording. It's recording at the moment, in fact. You press the OK button. It will then stop recording. You'll be able to see that. But there is the menu. Trouble is, the camera is actually reflecting in the screen. Now you can go up and down the menu. Yeah, it's definitely not very easy to try and film that. There's lots of options. White balance, cycle record. In other words, it will carry on recording until the card is full up, and then it will run back from the beginning and start wiping the first file. Obviously in 1080p, it's going to use more disk space or more card space. Got G sensor. We've got all your time settings, auto power off, language, flicker, in other words 50-60 Hertz depending on what country you're in, screensaver, format the disk, format the actual card, reset the system back to factory settings. So yeah, a lot of things. So you can just come out of it by pressing the middle button on that side. So we'll move back. So there you go. Yeah, so very clear picture. The recorded picture is just as clear as you saw in the night vision. A little bit grainy or a little bit noisy, but what do you expect? You know, it's £27. Crikey, you know, I don't know what you want. So yeah, there's no picture wobble. It's very good. Works very well. In fact, I'll see. Oh no, your trouble is you're not going to see the images anyway, because you're only looking through my camera on my smartphone. But yeah, but it gives you a good idea, and it's definitely worth getting one. They're very good for the money. If you've got pots of money to splash out and buy one top of the range cameras, by all means you can. But a friend of mine, close friend of mine, he bought a Halford one, and he had it for a couple of years, and it stopped working, and we found out that the battery had actually gone down. It had actually swollen inside. So I bought a new battery, because it would just shut on, come on, shut off, come on, shut off, come on. So I fitted a new battery to it. It all started working again. Had it back for about a fortnight, and then it started, all the screen started breaking up and all sorts. So yeah, so I, 2 years, not long, not really. I think it cost him, I think it was 65 quid, I think, when he bought it. So yeah, and the picture was good. Yeah, the picture was very, very good. Obviously slightly better than the picture on this, but look at the price difference, you know. So they say you get what you paid for, but that doesn't necessarily mean just because you pay a cheap price you're going to get an unreliable camera. As I say, I've got one on my bike, which I'll show you in a minute, and I do some waterproofing, obviously, to be able to use it. Otherwise, the first bit of rain that got in it would have shorted out. But it's been ultra reliable, absolutely reliable. So anyway, I hope it's been some use to you, and I'll show you a bit of footage of the one I've got on my bike, the one that you saw the film on. So bear with me. Okay, right, this is my electric bike, and here's the one that's on my bike. obviously I had to make a new stand up for it to go on my bike. But I've got my side view camera there, so it can film passing traffic. So that's absolutely perfect. Now I've had to seal the connections going to the top of the camera because obviously I didn't want to get water in them. And the only other modification I made was I've put like a lens flare or anti-flare on the lens. Now that helps the camera from shutting down in bright sunlight. So all that was a one of those little plastic funnels which I cut down and I fitted it to the lens. So it was perfect. That's wired in, and I've wired it into a battery which I have in my top box. Which is 12-volt battery. Well, it's actually underneath there. It's all properly fitted in with a box. You probably can't see it that well. And when I get on my bike, I mean, for 27 quid, it's worth it. I mean, you get someone pull out in front of you in a car, or you get somebody open a door on you. If you've got it on film, they can't deny it. So I've got a little switch on the back of the box here, just here. This is it's a 12-volt motorcycle battery, so it's only very small, and it's right in the front of the box here. I charged it up over 3 months ago. And I'm still on that charge. This camera hardly uses anything. So what I'll do is I'll flick the switch and I'll show you it. There you go. There you go, straight away. No problem. That's now recording. And that's the one from the side. Absolutely well worth the money. Top notch. So yeah, so you know, a couple of uses. As I say, that one's in my car, or going in my car, and I've got this one on my bike, which was very easy to waterproof. As I say, a little bit of hot glue around here, which easily comes off. A bit of hot glue. I suppose you could do that in black if you wanted to. And around the front, I put a nodule part just to cover the mic so that you don't get any water in there. Still picks up sound, no problem at all. It's picking up my voice at the moment. And as you can see, it's auto recording at the moment. As soon as you switch the power on, and then when you power it off, so when I throw the switch at the back, it'll come up, shutting down in 5 seconds. There you go. So yeah, worth every penny. Anyway, if this video has been some use to you, please give it a like, and more videos to come, no doubt. So take care, and if you're not already a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe. We'd love to have you on board. Cheerio. Bye.